A few days ago, a friend of mine sent me a text message which said, PowerPoints are by definition counter-revolutionary. So I was afraid to use one, but about an hour ago I thought, no, you really sometimes have to tell a story in pictures. So I'm going to show you a few pictures of Occupy Harvard's timeline or trajectory over the last few months. And I also really like the idea of Occupy Harvard in a workshop or a panel of solutions, because certainly not a solution. But I have been had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with a lot of social scientists and humanities people over the last few months. So I like to think of Occupy Harvard as the, to use your jargon, problematization of some issues that certainly need solutions. We don't have them, but we'd like to explore bringing some of these problems to the fore. Occupy Harvard started pretty soon after Occupy Boston started. This is one of the first posters that I saw. Everything is great, go home and shut your mouth. And so we set our tents down right under the nose of John Harvard's statue on November 9th. And I was using the Adams House printing press, which is a free Thursday night service offered by Harvard University. You can use their fancy paper and their fancy ink, and you can print things for free. I was printing posters like, "You Can Evict an Idea," which is a typical Occupy meme, "Keep It Classy, Harvard." And my favorite, "I'll go home when Larry Summers is the only person standing in the unemployment line." So I was staffing the info desk one night when a couple of undergraduates came to pay me a visit, and they were interested in engaging with us in questions like, why are you here? Why do you think you have the right to protest? Are you really students? Does anyone actually sleep in those tents? Why are all the tents the same brand? Who gave them to you? And aren't you too privileged to be asking these sorts of questions? And so we were discussing all of these issues, and one thing that came up was the fact that we were very interested in the ongoing custodial negotiations, the renegotiations of their contract. And one of the undergraduates piped up. She was a beautiful young blonde woman, and she said, well, you know, I was in actually a seminar with Larry Summers. I've been in a seminar with Larry Summers over the past few months, and we've really discussed a lot of these issues. And one of the things that he said was, well, you know, this is a private university, it's a corporation, it should be run like a business. And one of the things that we know about businesses and corporations is that we have some ideals that we strive towards, namely profit and efficiency. And so it really is Harvard's best interest to take the lowest, try to go for the lowest tier of this negotiation of this contract. So entirely in keeping with the Harvard University mission. And I did something that I don't usually do, which is try to appeal to emotion, or not to reason, but really to emotion. Is that really the vision of a university that you would like to see in your future? And the woman told me, well, the thing is, this is human nature we're talking about. We're actually talking about how whether we can care, whether we can or should care about people who are not our clan or our family or our kin. So the appeal was, we run this university as a corporation, and we have these directives, given that we're a business. And it's our human nature not to care about other people who are not our direct, indirect lineage. And therefore, these custodial negotiations don't make any sense as a problem. And I think, you know, in that very brief exchange, I understood, maybe at the most deeply at that point, why it was a moral imperative that we keep cold for 68 days in Harvard Yard, just to have that presence to open that conversation. And of course, Harvard closed the gates, so during that time we were a nice gated community in which no public could actually come and interact with us, and none of those conversations that we were hoping to have were possible. But I really do like this photo of this gate in particular, which was shot while we were inside, which says, "Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in." So none of the truth entered in the 2 months that we were there, luckily, because that would have been inconvenient. But one of the things that I am most interested in this project, in this problematization of Occupy, is Occupy academia, is this notion, the reason that I think that the ManQ walkout, the EC10 walkout, resonated with so many people and got so much coverage, and I think probably some of the students who organized it and are in that photo, which appeared on the Adbusters website after the walkout was staged, are in this room right now. It resonated for a reason. We in this room, we in this university, we in all of these excellent universities are going to be inheriting this economy. We're going to be inheriting these problems. We are trying to transition to a new economy. What does that entail? What are the structures? What are the institutions? What kind of academia do we want to see? And if we reject what we're given, what kinds of solutions can we then offer? And so we do like to do a little bit of theater of absurd in Occupy Harvard. So one of the things that we've released is a new courses of instruction supplement, which came out when students were choosing their new classes this spring semester, which was offering such courses as Economics 375A, Income Inequality in the Age of Obama. It's no longer given that each successive generation of Americans will rise above their parents in economic standing. This class will explore the obstacles that could conceivably prevent those in the 1% from rising to the top 0.5 or 0.1% within his lifetime. Topics covered include capital gains tax, the private jet fuel tax, the death tax, and the winter home in St. Bart's. Another one quickly. American government, how do we make it do what we want? This course, when taken for a letter grade, meets the Goldman Sachs internship program requirement for business ethics. One of my favorites, astronomy, studies in extraterrestrial navigation. Could the moon be made inhabitable? If it could, would I be able to drive my Bentley on it? We will investigate this when we require it. So, in this project, which is the ongoing evolution of a project of really trying to build a space in which people can bring these issues for which it doesn't seem there's any direct recourse through the established institutions, the established modes of communication within this university. How do we bring up the issues that are important to us as students? For grad students, one of the issues might be not having a union. It might be not having a way to argue that daycare, which costs as much as our monthly stipends per month, makes it very difficult for graduate students to have families. We're asking these sorts of questions in the context of people who are talking about this a lot, which is what do we actually want for public institutions? What do we actually expect from academia? I wish I'd captured the screen correctly here, because this article, which I didn't read because I wasn't going to go through 35 shocking facts, which I already, I think we all know. The best part about this article was that at the bottom there was an ad for Phoenix University. And I was trying to capture that point, which is these are the questions that we really need to be working on, we really need to be thinking about. One more anecdote that I wanted to, I'll close with, which is that people are working on all of these problems within progressive movements that already exist in the university. Occupy is a problematization, not a solution, but it does endow us with certain freedoms that are not possible when you're going through traditional channels. And I was just thinking about a friend who works at who is studying at the Harvard Kennedy School, who has been working very hard on reform of the curriculum there. One of the things that he noticed was that in the entire curriculum for Kennedy School kids, in terms of economic courses, there is one line in that curriculum about behavioral economics, which says something like, all of the models that you learn about, in which we model humans as rational agents, may not be true. So you might want to think about that when you actually try to apply these models. And these are the kinds of questions that we as individuals who work inside of these institutions ought to be asking our institutions, ought to be expecting from these institutions. And Occupy Harvard for us, for the small group of energetic people who've been doing this for a couple of months, has been one manner, certainly not the only manner, by which we can start to address these questions. So, thank you.